This presentation will be on content area literacy in physical education, health, visual art, and music. Disciplinary literacy is defined by the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction as the confluence of content knowledge, experiences, and skills merged with the ability to read, write, listen, speak, think critically, and perform in a way that is meaningful with the context of a given field. Vaca, and Mraz define content literacy as the ability to use listening, speaking, reading, writing, and viewing to gain information within a specific discipline. Disciplinary and content literacy are not confined to the language arts, math, science, or social studies classroom, but also stretch into the fine arts. The road to the literacy runs through every classroom, whether it has desks and chairs or the hardwood floors of the gymnasium. The literacy demands in physical education, health, visual art, and music are quite different than other content areas. In a physical education class, students are required to read diagrams, interpret tables, follow oral and written directions daily. Students are constantly asked to reference content vocabulary. During recreational activities, students are required to plan, reason, and strategize. In visual arts, students are asked to reflect on a piece of art. Students might also be required to visualize, analyze, and explore through visual representations. When analyzing pieces of art, students must express their thoughts and emotions either orally or in a written format. The art teacher will incorporate content vocabulary throughout units that students must know and be able to use in discussions. In music, students are asked to write about composers or auditory music. When listening to or reading music, students are asked to interpret the composer's message. During units of study, the teacher will use content vocabulary that students will also need to apply during lessons.
Texts typically used in the physical education health classes are textbooks, specifically focused on health and wellness topics, and sometimes magazines related to fitness and health. Music and visual arts utilize texts such as music notes, textbooks, and art pieces. Kevin Ming, the author of 10 content area literacy strategies for art, mathematics, music, and physical education, explained that these content areas do not rely on connected text to enrich content meaning, but rather rely on movement in physical education and discussion in visual arts and music. Content area literacy and language arts use the same tools teachers use to convey meaningful material and students use to acquire and record information. These tools are speaking, listening, reading, writing, viewing, and visually representing. Content area literacy is therefore extremely important because it strengthens students' language arts skills, allowing them to infuse new information to existing ideas, thoughts, and opinions.
Special area teachers should be utilizing various texts when instructing students. For physical education and health areas, teachers can incorporate the sports and health sections of a newspaper. Sports magazines would give up-to-date information on various sports. By using sports magazines, students will be able to connect with up-to-date information and athletes, which could increase student motivation and participation. Charts can be displayed in the gymnasium or health classroom that explicitly references game instructions or rules. These charts can display concepts in health such as the human body for students to refer to during classroom discussions. When using websites or blogs, the teacher should preview the material prior to the students. This will ensure that the information is age appropriate and accurate. Students can also create a blog to express their thoughts and ideas on a specific unit. Lessons can be enhanced with video clips to give the students a visual reference when introducing concepts and materials. This will especially benefit English language learners and students with minimal background knowledge on specific contents. For the music and visual arts teacher, incorporating biographies for students to read on specific artists and composers would be a great resource. This would allow students to read either individually, in a small group, or as an entire class about a specific person in history. Incorporating picture books strategically in lessons will enhance students' knowledge and comprehension on a topic. Visuals are essential for a student to connect with the information that is being presented. When listening to music, students should be given a copy of the lyrics to reference and follow along with. This will allow students to analyze and interpret the composer's message thoroughly. During certain areas of study, nonfiction literature should be used to enhance lessons as well. Nonfiction texts can be found on various reading levels, which would allow all students to engage in the textual reading and research of the topic. Here are some examples of literacy texts that can be used in these specific content areas.
When researching literacy practices in physical education, art, and music, many resources suggest the effective strategies and important reasons for teachers to include movement, music, and art within the language arts classroom. These resources did not, however, reflect on the importance of literacy within these content areas. Articles, websites, and school districts have begun examining content area literacy in art, music, and physical education, but more research must be done and support must be given to encourage these teachers to include literacy strategies in their classes. Physical education and health teachers can use a variety of strategies to integrate content area literacy. Venn diagrams can be used to compare and contrast different sports, while anchor charts can display the steps or rules of a game or competition. In the jigsaw approach, first groups are assigned a step needed to play a game or sport. Then they explain their step or rule to the class. Quick writes and journal writing can be used to explain or answer questions, such as, what are the rules of the game and why is it so important to follow the rules? Or, give an example of how you did or did not display ethical behavior during the game today. Anticipation guides can have students agree or disagree with health or fitness topics that will be taught throughout the unit. Students can create a playbook of strategies for a particular game, pamphlets focusing on topics in health, or create web pages or brochures illustrating the athletic program at their school to integrate writing into a physical education or health class. Media text can be used for students to view instructional videos of exercise techniques or to preview a new game being taught to the class. Semantic feature analysis tables can be used to examine content vocabulary. Lastly, allowing students the opportunity to read newspaper or sports magazine articles, game rules, or instructional guides allows students to think critically about health and fitness. All these strategies can lead to class discussions about important topics in health and fitness.
Sarah Daggett, an adaptive PE teacher in the Liverpool Central School District in New York, recognized the need for critical literacy in the physical education setting. She states that whether you teach math, science, reading, or even, yes, physical education, there is one goal that is universal. We all want all of our students to use literacy skills in our content area. The concept of physical literacy is relatively new, but refers to the ability to read and respond to the environment and others in interactions. It is also the ability to articulate knowledge, skills, and understanding of health. Her district adapted Child's Play, which stands for Character, Health-Related Fitness, Intelligence, Lifestyle Development, and Skilled Play. The curriculum was redesigned to create grade-level benchmarks. They revised the scope and sequence, along with the assessments that were now developmentally appropriate for the teachers and students. Essential questions were created to allow every child to take away the appropriate material that is presented. Essentially, this model encourages the student to take the common foundational skills and knowledge beyond the gymnasium door to encourage students to pursue throughout his or her life. Physical educators are now spending more time demonstrating skills that students will in turn use in other classrooms, their home, and in the world.
In art and music classrooms, students can read different texts about the same artist or musician and use group retellings to discuss their perspectives and thoughts. Classes can listen to a piece of music or view a work of art and participate in think, pair, share activities about form and function or tone and rhythm. Journal entries and quick writes can help students respond to a performance or work of art that was viewed, while structured notes in music class can aid students with content vocabulary as well as music note understanding. Students can also create visual representations of content learned. For example, students can interpret music by creating a dance, retell a story of the life of an artist by using illustrations or digital design, or express their perspective of a piece of music or artwork through their own art. Teachers can use think alouds to aid students in visualizing how the music or art teacher thinks and understands his or her content area. The music teacher can verbalize what he or she sees when looking at an abstract piece of art, or how a particular piece of art makes him or her feel because of the mediums the artist chose to use. The music teacher can verbalize the steps in playing an instrument while playing that instrument, or tips and clues he or she uses to remember how to read music. Timelines can organize the pieces of art created by an artist over time, or display periods of music when they became popular. T-charts can compare and contrast mediums of art or the sounds of different instruments. KWL charts, anchor charts, and word of the day activities can track content vocabulary knowledge in both music and art. As in physical education, many interactions with content area texts will reinforce vocabulary and encourage critical thinking.
The Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction has designated websites that outline content literacy strategies in all of the content areas. Specifically, they have web pages dedicated to musical and visual arts. There, they have outlined the 8 steps to build art knowledge through literacy. This is a graphic organizer that the teacher can use when creating lessons. It helps map out the prior knowledge that the student should have prior to the introduction of a new concept. It outlines the vocabulary that will be needed to teach explicitly for students to comprehend the material. It also requires that the teacher give visual representation to enhance the student's knowledge of the content that is being presented. It asks the teacher how the student will identify the main idea with the artistic piece, whether this is a painting, sculpture, or piece of music. The teacher is asked to create activities in which the students will be able to discuss and articulate what the piece of art means through analyzing and critiquing. Critical thinking is addressed through the use of Bloom's taxonomy when developing questions. This strategy also allows students to compare elements of this piece of work to previous pieces of work that may have been introduced prior. This is a wonderful graphic organizer that either the music or visual arts teacher could use easily in the classroom setting. The website also has great video clips that demonstrate how music and visual arts connect to the listening, speaking, reading, writing, viewing, and visual standards.
Like any content area, the role of the literacy coach is essential in the physical education, music, and visual arts classroom. The literacy coach should be available to mentor teachers on implementing literacy strategies in their classrooms. This may be unfamiliar to these special area educators, and they may require professional development or team meetings in order to be successful. Collaborating with content area teachers who use content area literacy strategies might be beneficial for consistency and fluency purposes. Literacy coaches are a wonderful reference when instructing English language learners, struggling readers, or special education students. The literacy coach can also assist in finding appropriate text to use in the classroom setting per unit. This can include visual media, trade books, magazines, blogs, websites, nonfiction texts, songs, picture books, and news reports. Thank you for watching our presentation on content area literacy in physical education, health, music, and visual arts.